Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Her Story podcast, presented by Chamber Fayetteville and produced by Be Freaking Awesome. I'm one of your hosts, Simi Kinnison, and today I am joined by Olivia James. Olivia, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited. Before we jump in, can you take like 60 seconds to tell us about who you are and what you do? Just a little bit about you.
So I am a Fayetteville resident. I'm Springdale raised. I went to Springdale High School and everything. I went to the U of A for my bachelor's and my master's, and I finished up grad school about a year ago. And now I'm also working at the University of Arkansas here in Fayetteville. So I am an access coordinator in the Center for Educational Access, which is in the Division of Student Affairs at the U of A. And I'm working like in the disability services department. And whenever I finished up grad school, I'm now an LAC, so I'm a licensed associate counselor, and I have my rehabilitation counselor certification as well. So I'm practicing right now at the U of A.
Nice. That's amazing. What does
Mhm.
an access coordinator do? Are you helping increase access, helping manage the services people are working with? Tell me a little more about that.
A little bit of both. So the primary goal of what we do, we're hoping to reduce barriers for students with disabilities. So we're the student facing disability resource center. And so we're
Hmm.
working with students to promote access and remove those barriers, whether it be like by accommodations or advising instructors on how they can more universally design their courses. We'll work with the employee and universities accessibility department as well to reduce physical barriers that are maybe on campus. We work with students in that have all kinds of disabilities, temporary disabilities, to address their access barriers and needs.
That's super cool work. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you got into that? Is this something you have wanted to do for a long while, or did you find yourself here?
So I knew that I always wanted to be in a helping profession. I initially started out in public health, and that's what I got my bachelor's in. And I was an intern at the community clinic, and I really enjoyed serving those populations that receive a majority of the services there. And I was introduced to the behavioral health department at the community clinic and started learning more about like the psychiatric side of community health centers and getting access to medication and counseling and all of those kinds of things. And I just started applying for counseling programs, and I knew I wanted to be a counselor. And then I also had more personal encounter that I ended up going to counseling for. I was injured like in a
Oh,
tornado
wow.
where I experienced like some physical mobility limitations, and as a result, some the trauma that impacted like my mental health and everything. I sought counseling, and like I said, I had a more personal encounter, and so I saw the benefits of it, and it just kind of further confirmed the path that I was on.
That
So that's kind of how I got
Yeah,
into it.
one of the questions we ask people is like, is there a moment that changed things for you? And it sounds like there kind of was a moment that really locked in. No, I think this is
Mhm.
something, yeah, making it more personal.
Mhm.
That is both really cool and
Yeah.
sounds really scary to have been in a tornado and have dealt with that.
Yeah. It was, but I'm thankful for counseling because it helped me deal with anxiety and process the trauma and all of that. And like I said, it just further confirmed the path that I was on. I knew I wanted to continue to stay in the helping
Hmm.
profession and serve the populations who do need those services, and so I just kept rolling with
I
it.
love
So yeah.
that. So, one of the questions we've been asking within this podcast series is to share, have there ever been any moments for you? I know you're earlier on in your career, so maybe within education or work,
Mhm.
where maybe you didn't feel like you felt that you belonged. And how did you kind of handle that and navigate that?
Yes, the short answer to your question is yes. I've absolutely felt that. I would say during my time in grad school is whenever I felt it the strongest. I was helping professions, or there were lots of women in my classes, but not very many black women. I was probably the only, except for maybe a couple of classes, there was maybe one other black woman, and I didn't always feel that I was maybe
Mm.
qualified for whatever reason. My last year of grad school, I was an internship and I would have to sit with clients who were seeing me for mental health services but also knowing that I was in school at the time. And then there were times where maybe I was helping someone process more severe mental health and like present issues. And there were times where I definitely thought like, "What why am I allowed to sit here and what am I doing here?" Because the education that I was receiving was present and recent, but during those times, I was able to rely on my supervisors and my mentors and trust the education that I was able to because it was so recent, I was able to recall the crisis intervention and how to manage those types of crises, and, yeah, just rely on my education and my supervisors. And that was kinda how I, owned it and made my way
I like
through.
it. That also sounds a little bit like imposter syndrome showing up. There's the, "Do I belong here? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I qualified for this?"
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for other people who might be facing some kind of imposter syndrome within their roles and whatever they're doing?
Yeah, so actually, I was having a discussion with one of my friends about this not too long ago. During my time in grad school, I was the president of the Association of Black Counseling Students, and we had a speaker at one of our meetings, and she reframed imposter syndrome for me in a way that, like, really, really shook me, and I don't see it the same. I can't say that I don't still feel it, but I try to remind myself of it, and she basically was explaining that imposter syndrome is, like, internalized impression because who do you feel that you're imitating? Just that reframing that there's oftentimes we feel like we need to be perfect or we are perfectionists, and there's plenty of evidence otherwise that you are qualified, you have the background, the knowledge, the skills, all the things, and you still feel that like maybe it was just luck or somebody took a chance on you, even though there's plenty of evidence that shows otherwise. And sometimes that's just really internalized impression, and that's for I feel like many minorities and women experience that you can trust that you're there and you've just internalized the suppression, whether it be racism or
Mm.
sexism, ableism, whatever it might be, that you've taken it on and we've been
Yeah.
socialized to feel that way. Not that not that you actually don't deserve to feel that way. They're just over the course of your life, you've learned
I feel like that makes you
that.
get
So
almost a little bit more fired up about, "No way, I'm not gonna accept this." Like, "No, I'm
yeah.
not gonna I don't wanna take that on." Like, other people
Mhm.
doing it, which also I, like, don't want that either, but I'm
Mhm.
not gonna be the perpetrator of this against myself. Like, I don't know, that's my
Exactly.
response is to get a little mad on my behalf.
Mhm.
Like a friend would get mad if you were experiencing this. If anybody else was talking to you
Exactly.
like the way you sometimes talk to yourself, your friends would
Exactly.
get mad at you or get mad at that
Mhm.
person. So, that's a cool take. I really
Mhm.
like that.
I know that reframing, I mean, it just really changed things for me, and especially for to be in grad school, like I was saying, I was experiencing that at the time,
Yeah.
and, I was able, like I said, to just recall back to that whenever I would have those times whenever I was doubting myself or whatever the situation might be, and then moving forward, there was even more confirmation after once you pass, like, your licensure exams and everything, it was like, "No way, I really am qualified," so it's, reinforcing that idea and hopefully working to remove the imposter syndrome or learning how to deal with it better.
I like it. Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about Fayetteville as a community. There is
Okay.
something really special about this area. And, growing up in Springdale, Northwest
Mhm.
Arkansas, what do you think it is that makes this area so unique and special that people are just drawn in?
I think that there is a lot of diversity here, like I said, especially in Springdale, but also in Fayetteville and just in Northwest Arkansas in general. And there's a lot going on, and it feels like people do show up for each other in a lot of ways. And so I feel like it's easy if you're putting yourself out there, it can be very helpful to find the community and like find the community that you belong to and establish roots and explore all the different things that Fayetteville has to offer and just across the region.
As Fayetteville keeps growing, is there anything that you, as somebody who's grown up in this area, like
Mhm.
really hope that we hold on to, something that we never lose? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think I would hope that we continue to think of our neighbors and take care of each other and show up for each other, and, I think that would be my hope is if we're gonna keep growing and getting and more people are gonna be joining the community that I would hope that it's a place that people wanna be and that people who have been here don't wanna leave. So
I like that. That's a good answer. I feel similarly. Kind of keep that small town feel even as we grow.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Are there any women in your life who you look to? They could be famous, not famous, real or imaginary.
Mhm.
That you look to and think like this is the kind of woman I want to be someday.
Yes. Yes. I struggle to answer this question because there are so many women. I
Yeah.
have many, many, women in my life throughout all of my life that I've been able to lean on and to confide in and that I can trust and that have mentored me and just to name a few. So like my mom, which I know is a lot of people's answers, but I do think she is exceptional. And I think a lot of people would also agree with that as well. She has her school counseling and she's also a rehabilitation counselor, which just to know is not the reason that I got into this because it really happened towards the end of my senior year of college. But it's just funny how the journey that I've taken, I knew that I wanted to be like her, but I didn't know that I would end up in the same career, going to the same like grad school or program as her. So yeah, I would say my mom and my aunts, both my grandmas,
Mhm.
and those are like the familial ones. But my mom also has really been intentional about building a community of women that I call my aunties, even though they're they're not. But I that they're like family to me, and like I said, I can confide in them, and I trust them, and yeah, they're just exceptional women. I would say my supervisor. So for my associate counseling like license, I have to be supervised by someone who's fully licensed
Mhm.
and has received their supervision license. And I meet with her regularly to be working towards my full licensure. And she's also like professionally speaking, I I want to be like her.
Mm.
She's done a little bit of everything. She is a jack of all trades, and I just really respect her. She's always reframing things and providing a perspective, and whenever there is feedback, like, it's given in a way that can be received, and it's in love and, like, in true mentorship, and so I really value that, relationship, and one day I hope that whenever I'm supervising some LACs that they would think the same of me, so
That's really cool. I love that you are surrounded by a community of women, family,
mhm,
friends, colleagues. That's really, I think, just like a
mhm,
deep privilege to get to have the women who've come before us to look to and
mhm.
rely on. So I love that you have such a rich community to lift you up and to look
I
to.
definitely do. I definitely do. I'm very fortunate. I mean, even at work,
Hmm.
most of my office is women, and my direct supervisor has just taken me under her wing and like shown me the ropes, and there's not like a gatekeepy kind of energy or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm really fortunate in that way that people want to teach and mentor and supervise.
It can make all the difference
So
to feel included in that way and even just
mhm.
supported in such a way that you can, I don't know, try new things and figure things out
Right.
and grow within your career to have people
Mhm.
who want to help you in that way. I think that that's
Mhm.
really special. Okay, one of the last questions I want to ask is within your career or industry, what do you think about the glass ceiling? Do you think it's still there? Do you think it's maybe not so much there? What are your thoughts?
Okay. So I think that it is definitely still there. um, but I can point to some examples of women who have broken through the glass ceiling.
Mhm.
But I think that it is and I don't want to speak on behalf of those or assume too much, but I think that it's a constant fight to
Mhm.
break through the glass ceiling. And so even for women who are in those executive leadership positions, um, and so I definitely do think it's there, even though there is evidence that it's possible, but it's definitely still there. So
I like it. Well, I mean, I don't like it, but thanks for your take on it. Thanks for sharing.
right. hmm
Okay, we're gonna wrap up our episode with a couple of rapid fire questions. All right,
Okay,
and I'm gonna do better at these. I always want to talk more. I'm gonna get better. The first question,
you're fine. I love yapping.
what job did you want when you were 10 years old or like a kid?
I'm not honestly not. I don't remember. I
Mm,
would say I would say the earliest job that I can remember saying I wanted was probably to be a lawyer.
okay.
I don't remember what I or at 10 what I was wanting to be.
Okay, but a lawyer. I like it.
Mhm.
All right, if you could travel to one of these places, what would it be? A beach, mountains, a city, or staycation?
Beach.
Mm, all day, every day. All right, let's say a bonus is going to hit your account today. You can decide how much the bonus is. What's the first thing you're going to go do with it?
I get to decide how much the bonus
Yeah,
is?
because I think that for you to decide, you got to figure out the amount. So you decide
Okay. Okay.
in this
I
fictitious
would prob
example.
I love playing these. I would pay off my debt first,
hmm
my credit card bill, and yeah, that would be the first thing that I would
Very
do.
responsible. I love it. Great call. All right, can you describe your work wardrobe in 3 words?
Yes. Hmm. I would say I'm professional, but it's relaxed because that's just the culture of our work environment. Um, and then comfortable. So professional, relaxed, but and comfortable.
I like it. It's a good style to
Mhm.
have. Okay. And then do you have any goals that maybe something you're keeping a little bit close to the chest? You haven't told as many people about it. And would you be ready or willing to share with us?
Unfortunately, I don't have any goals that I haven't shared with anyone.
Oh,
Like I said, I'm a bit of a yapper, so I will talk about a lot of different things and I don't think I have anything that I haven't at least mentioned to a few people.
what's one that you're really excited about right now?
One that I'm professionally speaking, one that I'm really excited about is getting to level 2 of my LAC.
Nice.
I'm still working towards that whenever I can start counting some indirect hours and, getting closer to that full licensure, and so that's something that I'm looking forward to.
I love it. Well, thank you so
Mhm.
much, Olivia, for participating in our conversation and tell us a little bit more about you and your journey. I'm so grateful for
Yeah.
this.
Thank you again for having me. I really enjoyed
Absolutely.
this. Thank you for letting me share.
Good. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and tune in to the next story on the Her Story podcast.